The original Xenosaga was one of the most strongly story-driven RPGs of all time, focusing on a complex plot told primarily through a large number of often lengthy cinematic cutscenes. Xenosaga Episode II, Jenseits von Gut, und Bose is cut from the same cloth. It still features plenty of cutscenes and a crew of great characters, as well as a storyline that remains engaging despite the narrative pace of the series starting to slow down a little. The game features a new and improved battle system and look, along with the new character advancement system that's a bit watered down. While this game is shorter than Episode 1 and is not without some issues, it's still a well-made title that fans should have no problem getting into. The storyline of the game remains one of the series' strong points, as the plot thickens and some new enemies make themselves known. A good chunk of Episode 2 explores the background and motivations of a lot of the existing characters, from the history of Junior, Albedo, and Guinan, to the philosophical thoughts of the Styad Ziggurat 8, to the relationship between Momo and the woman she calls Mother, and so on. In fact, a good deal of the focus of the game seems to be on developing these characters further, which isn't a bad thing at all. It slows the narrative pace down a bit, but learning more about these characters is enough motivation to progress through the game. The battle system has had a bit of refinement in this installment. Whereas before characters had 3 different attack types, now characters have a number of different attack zones on enemies that they can strike, called A, B, and C. Enemies will have vulnerabilities to being hit in certain zones, and if you connect your attacks in the proper order, you'll inflict a status called Break on your foe. Break status not only opens the enemy up to greater damage, but when one is in break status, they can be hit into a down or air position. An enemy in one of these positions is extremely vulnerable to attack. You can boost your characters to quickly take a turn, and boosting combined with breaking allows you to do lots of damage to foes in a hurry. You can also store up attacks using the stock system and unleash them all at once. Some characters even have access to powerful special attacks, as well as double attacks that let 2 characters move as a team to take down an enemy. Since careful use of boosting, breaking, stalking, and unleashing your most powerful moves are necessary to take down everything from tough dungeon monsters to bosses, it adds some really nice, satisfying tactical edge to your battles. The development of character abilities has gotten some simplification. Whereas in the previous title you could spend points on leveling each character's specific ether attacks, tech attacks, and skills, Episode 2 has replaced this with a system where the characters gain 2 sets of points and then spend them on the exact same ability trees. Any character can pretty much learn anything, so there's little real need for you to bother setting up your characters very differently. Characters can learn some unique abilities, such as double attacks, but these attacks are not themselves upgradable. While you can still upgrade the levels of various ethers, you'll still find yourself primarily issuing your whole party a lot of the same classes of abilities, as the tiers all progress in the same way, which makes the choices you make feel rather empty of significance. The game can be beaten in under 30 hours. While it's on 2 discs, the first disc is well under 10 hours long and serves kind of as a prologue of sorts for the meat of the game on disc 2. There are extras to ferret out in the form of special weapons and nifty swimsuits for your characters, as well as a whole side quest system and new difficult bosses you can fight once you finish the game once. While Xenosaga Episode II isn't the lengthiest RPG on the market, and while it's more character-focused and does less advancing of the overall narrative than its predecessor, it still stuffs a good amount of soul into the time allotted. The improved battle system adds some tactical depth, even as the character development system has some depth taken away. But despite the fact that this title isn't as uniquely compelling as the first, there's still a very interesting role-playing game with a very nice cast and a story that's still involving. While this game is definitely not for everyone, fans of the first Xenosaga and those who enjoy strongly story-driven RPGs will likely find Xenosaga Episode II right up their alley.